for News 4 Utah's Real Sports Live.
Tonight on Real Sports Live, who needs fans? Well, real ones anyway. BYU puts an absolute beatdown on Troy as Zach Wilson has a career night. Just how good are the Cougars, and can they make it 3 straight wins this week against La Tech? The Pac-12 and Mountain West are coming back. What should we expect from the Utes and the Aggies in this abbreviated football season? Real Salt Lake tries to go 2 for 2 this week on the soccer pitch. The Lakers are going back to the NBA Finals. Is it a foregone conclusion LeBron will be celebrating a 4th title? Plus, we'll reveal our top high school plays and Beehive Blitz Player of the Week. It's Real Sports Live, and it starts right now. Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome to Real Sports Live. I'm Dana Green. This guy is Wesley Ruff. And for the first time this year, we can officially say BYU, Utah, and Utah State will all be playing football this fall.
And winter.
Ooh, it's going to get cold.
We're going to get to the Pac-12 and Mountain West in just a bit. But first, BYU sure didn't look like a team that hadn't played in 19 days. They came out and just smoked a pretty decent Troy team, 48-7 last night. Zach Wilson had himself some kind of night at an empty Lavelle Edwards Stadium. He just tore apart that Trojan defense. Wilson completed 23 of his 28 passes for a career-high 292 yards. What a catch by Gunnar Romney there. The defense just as dominant as the offense was. Zach Dawes with one of 4 sacks by the Cougars. They held Troy to just 181 total yards. Meanwhile, BYU racked up 664 yards of offense. Wilson, 2 touchdown passes to Isaac Rex, 1 to Dax Milne. Milne had a career-high 140 yards receiving, one of 2 receivers to go over the 100 mark for the game. Gunnar Romney also with 138. Wilson, he rushed for a couple of touchdowns as BYU just blew this thing wide open in a 48-7 victory. Dana, let me ask you, how good are the Cougars?
I think they're pretty good, and I know it's Troy. I know it's Michigan. It's not Michigan State. It's not Utah. We're not getting to see the teams we thought we were going to see them play against, but to put up 48 points and go over 600 yards of total offense, and to hold the team that has scored over 40 in the past against other level caliber teams to under 200 yards total offense. This is a 2nd straight complete team effort. The offensive line is just dominant, giving Zach Wilson all the time in the world. They're opening up holes for Lapini Katoa and Tyler Algier.
And not making many mistakes either.
That's true.
Pretty much penalty-free.
Yeah, penalty-free, turnover-free.
Granted, the opposition is not what it could be, but BYU's doing what it's supposed to do, and they're playing well.
These are the teams on the schedule, and kudos for Tom Holmoe for even putting a schedule together with all that's been going on. But they are just destroying these teams. I don't know how much further they could move up in the polls. In fact, because the Pac-12 and the Big Ten entered the polls this week, BYU actually dropped. I don't know. What do you think their ceiling is? I think they can get up. If they go 8-0, which they should against the schedule right now as it currently sits, I think they can get up to number 15 in the country.
I would say 15 is probably the ceiling, just because there's not enough games for other teams to lose and for BYU to keep winning, and their strength of schedule is not going to help them this year. So the only thing they can do to plead their cause is to win games like they did last night. Play extremely well on offense, extremely well on defense, don't make mistakes, and blow out teams.
Is 48-7 impressive enough for the voters, though? Kalani Sitake is a guy who does not like to run the score up. He took a knee. This could have been in the 50s, the 60s. He could have put up a ton more points, but that's not Kalani Sitake's style. But if you're talking about moving up in the polls, and maybe, I don't think they're going to get considered for a playoff, but considered for a major bowl game, do you need to put up 50, 60 on these teams?
You might have to start doing that. I know it's very counterproductive and counterintuitive for what Kalani Sitake believes in, but if they want to get to that 15 level in the polls, maybe they're going to have to do that, just run up the points, because I think most of the voters, all they look at is the score. They don't look at how they do it. They don't look at how.
They don't look at the
many.
yard. They didn't say that you took a knee with
not
a
how,
couple
just
minutes
how many.
left. I've just been so impressed with Zach Wilson. He's finally 100% healthy. The shoulder's good. The thumb is good. He's got all the time in the world. He's got receivers to throw to. This is the Zach Wilson
running backs too.
We thought we would see last year, but we didn't realize how big that shoulder injury, I think, was. So BYU's looking good. All right, how great was this to see? The Pac-12 and Mountain West conferences are going to play football this fall. The Pac-12 will kick off this season November 6th. They'll play a 7-game schedule, while the Mountain West begins a couple weeks earlier on October 24th. They'll play an 8-game schedule. Utah's going to play 3 home games and 3 road games, and they hope their 7th game will be the Pac-12 championship on December 19th. Otherwise, it'll be against another Pac-12 North team. This was all possible because of the new Quiddell medical testing. They can get almost immediate results from COVID tests. Here's what Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan had to say about starting the Pac-12 season. As much as Utah needs the TV revenue generated from football, playing in an empty Rice-Eccles Stadium will hurt.
We know here at Utah that's still a very significant financial hit. There was a great day yesterday for our student athletes and for our coaches, and you can imagine. But there was also, real disappointment for our fans. We have, no question, the best fans in this conference. So that was tough.
As for the schedule, Utah will play home games against Arizona and USC and road games against UCLA, Arizona State, and Colorado. They'll also play a 6th game against an undetermined Pac-12 North team at Rice-Eccles. Is it fair that some teams will play Oregon State or Cal while others will have to play Washington or Oregon? No, but that's just the way it is, and they all will count.
We don't know how many games we're going to get in. We may lose games along the way. The way it's set up, there is no place to put the games. So if we're playing a Pac-12 game and it so happens to be a crossover, they got to count. The idea of us playing a crossover game and it not counting, and then the following week, let's say we play a South Division opponent that we can't play because of the virus, then all of a sudden we have 2 non-countable games, and you had to look at it from that practical standpoint.
Pac-12 teams will almost certainly play fewer games than the other Power 5 schools. How much will that hurt their chances of getting into the college football playoff?
We go into this eyes wide open, knowing that we hope to get all those games in just like any other conference. But if it stays as is, and I do believe, particularly if we have a really strong team, whether that's an undefeated team or maybe a one-loss type team, that wins our conference and the way our schedule will be laid out, I think that team should absolutely be considered.
Schedule is supposed to come out later this week, and if Utah has to play Oregon and USC plays Oregon State, Utah fans are going to be a little upset, but you know what? You got to deal with it.
It's football, right? We finally get to have it. It is what it is. Just be grateful that we're playing college football.
Nothing is fair in the age of COVID.
Exactly. I'm interested to see how good this Utah team is.
Yeah.
Because they were ranked number 22 in the preseason poll. The new poll came out today. They fell all the way to 35.
Wow.
Which is stunning.
Yeah.
Part of that was a credit to Kyle Whittingham and what he's done in the past and the teams he's put on the field.
They lost a lot of guys to the NFL.
We're still going to have a quarterback controversy. Who's going to be the
Jake
starting
Bentley,
quarterback?
Cam Rising.
I want to see how that defense is going to shape up and how some of the new guys are going to fit in. And Utah State, too. This is a team that kind of hasn't been talked about because their news came out the same day as the Pac-12.
They're going to play 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, so it's good for Gary Anderson. I hope that the Aggies have a good year.
It looks like Jason Shelley's going to be the starting quarterback there, and he's going to have Devontae Henry Cole, another former Ute, running the ball for them. So I think Utah State's going to be pretty good. But I don't know. What do you think of the Pac-12 format? Playing 6 games for sure. That 7th game is either going to be another crossover game or the Pac-12 championship.
Again, I don't think I don't think anybody can complain about it. It is what it is.
Right.
Just be grateful that you have college football to root for. Pac-12 wanted to wait for the medical and the science to catch up and see where they were.
Some people said that they could have started a week earlier, but they're playing it safe.
Yeah,
with
and if they had started a week
schools.
earlier, it would have given them another week just in case they lose a game. As
They have no room.
Director Mark Harlan said, there's no wiggle room now. If you lose a game, and I'm not talking lose a game in the score, I mean lose a game because of COVID.
Because of COVID,
yeah, there's no chance to make it up.
You know what I like? No one's going to lose a year of eligibility over
I like
this.
that.
So, Jake Bentley, if he only gets to play 6-7 games and wants to come back for one more year, he can do that. It's basically a free year for eligibility. So I think that's a good ruling right there.
I have to keep track of all that stuff. All right, turning now to Real Salt Lake. Pretty good week for RSL. 4 points in 2 games. On Wednesday, RSL ended a 2-game home losing streak with a pretty impressive 2-0 victory over the LA Galaxy. This game was scoreless at the half. Albert Rusnak buried a penalty kick in the 65th minute. Jimmy Krylock added an insurance goal in the 72nd. So they win 2-0. Then tonight at Minnesota, another scoreless draw against the Loons. In 3 games this season, RSL has yet to score a goal against Minnesota. But they didn't give up a goal in 2 of those 3 games. So Dana, is Real still in good playoff position?
I mean, not great, good. They're 4-4-6, still above the playoff line. They're in 8th place with 9 games to go. They really needed to end that 2-game home losing skid, and that win against the Galaxy was a big one. And I love what Andrew Putna has done the last 2 games. It seems like Freddie Juarez was going back and forth between Zach McMath, Andrew Putna. I think Putna's the guy for the rest of the way. I mean, they're going to have to play because they're playing 2 games a week for a few more weeks, and you're going to have to see a little bit more of McMath. But Andrew Putna, 7 saves tonight, only had to make 1 save against the Galaxy, which is a sign of a great defensive effort. But this is how Freddie Juarez wants to win games. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. And I think he's got to be very happy with his team this week.
Their next game is next Sunday, a week from tonight. At home,
LAFC.
correct? Yeah, and they'll be without Justin Glad, who's going to be out because he accumulated another yellow card. So he'll miss that game. So the defense is going to have to step up. They tried a different strategy tonight on the defensive side. I'm not sure if it paid off or not, but yeah, how do you not score a goal
in 3 games against Minnesota? 3 whole games against Minnesota.
They played at home, on the road, and at a neutral site, and still haven't scored. They got to find some place they can score a goal against the Loons.
Well, the big game, because even Freddie Juarez was saying fatigue may have played into factor, because you're flying to Minnesota the day of. That is a long trip. They flew out early this morning to get there for the game. This game, the LA Galaxy game, I thought was huge.
One of the better ones.
The season back on track.
One of the better
RSL.
ones of the year.
All right, well, the NBA Finals are all set. You're going to see them on ABC4. And for the 10th time in his incredible career, LeBron is back in the finals, this time with the LA Lakers. There was no miracle Denver Nuggets comeback this time. The Lakers eliminated them in 5 games last night. Another big game for LeBron, another big game for Anthony Davis. Then tonight, LeBron's old team, the Miami Heat, knocked off the Boston Celtics in 6. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler. They sparked a 26-6 run in the 4th. So it's the Lakers and the Heat, 2 teams that didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Crazy.
First time that's ever happened in NBA history. Wes, it's the question, Lakers in how many games?
3. They're that
Lakers
good.
in
They're
3.
going to win a best-of-7 series in just 3 games.
Miami's only dropped 3 games in the playoffs. I know it's against the East, but they're playing really well.
I'm going to say they're going to drop 4 in the NBA Finals because the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. They have been all year long, and no one's proved them different since then. I say 5 games. I think the Lakers are going to win this one in 5.
People forget the Heat were a 5 seed. 5 seed, and they just got on this magical run. I said before this all started in the bubble, something crazy was going to happen. Somebody's going to get through that probably shouldn't have if they were playing with real home court advantage. Miami Heat have proven that right. I mean, this is an incredible run to the NBA
What do you say, 5 games?
Lakers in 5.
Okay.
Lakers in 5 is probably pretty safe. All right, we have to take our first time out here on Real Sports Live.
Yes, but coming up, a special BYU edition of Bites of the Week. Stick around.
watching ABC4 Utah's Real Sports Live.
Welcome back to the show. As we told you earlier, BYU put a beat down on Troy in its home opener last night.
Yeah, so for this week, we decided to go with an all Cougars edition of Bites of the Week.
That was a little bit of a downer, for a lot of the guys that no fans are going to be here. And the players are talking about, governor's announcement and support of the team, and they understand it, and I just I like the way that this team governs itself, and the players are there to help support and communicate with each other. It's making my job a lot easier as a head coach.
There's a couple times maybe when the defense is on or we're jogging at halftime or a big play happens, you don't hear any fan noise. That you actually notice it, but when you're so dialed in on what's going on and you're focused on, the defensive front, maybe what pressure could be coming, the play, what motion, all that kind of stuff, you don't even notice it. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of guys could say the same thing, is you really don't even notice the crowd not being there.
I think Zach's leadership is starting to show, and I mentioned this last game that, he had a great off season. Before he had to kind of nurse some injuries and get back from it, right? And this is the first time that he had a great offseason, being able to just take care of his stuff and perfect his craft. A lot of still room for improvement, and I know that Zach will think that this isn't good enough. There's some things that I know there's some plays I know he wish he could have back, but man, I just like the way he's working. I like the way he's leading this team.
A quarterback is always as good as the guys around him, and I'm fortunate to have a great, 10 guys that rally around me, and, I can make the easy play and they can make it a big play. We got great running backs, dudes making, big-time plays, making guys miss, and then, at the same time, I can throw a swing route to a back, I can throw an arrow to a receiver, and those guys are going to make guys miss, and they're going to go make big-time plays down the field, and, really, I just think we have that playmaking ability where guys aren't letting the first one take them down.
It's time now for the reason television was invented in the first place, to show highlights and lowlights, bloopers and blunders. That's right, kids. It's time for the best and the worst. Football is a little different with no fans. The Lambeau Leap, not quite the same. And the scoreboard in Chicago flashing makes some noise. Yeah, there's no one there to do that. Pretty good soccer throw in here. The ball never touches the ground. And it's a goal. It was header, shot, goal! Foul ball, player goes over and doink! Oh, the ball bounces off the net, off his noggin. Another case of using your head. The doubles match, teammate just drills him. Big forehand smash right to the temple. Oof, gonna leave a mark. Sweet move by Jamal Murray. Changes hands in the air and spins it in like that shot. He's good. Nice return in tennis from the far court. Watch this. Oh, yeah. Probably didn't need to do it, but it's still impressive as he leaps up between the leg return shot. Some nice catches. The one in softball, left fielder races in and makes the rolling catch. Nicely done. Major League Baseball, the catch here, and runs into the wall, but still hangs on. Pretty casual sliding grab here. This is it's very nonchalant. Bit of thievery on this play as he leaps and makes the catch. Got his glove over the wall to take away the home run. This guy with the running grab makes the snag and then gets snagged in the net. Hopped up on the tarp, then the wall, and got trapped in the webbing. Foul ball in Cincinnati. The worker hops the wall, gives chase. I mean, he went after that thing. Look at the hustle. And he got the ball and then headed back. And then, oops. Man, he was looking so good right up until the point where he wasn't. And he face planted. And finally, this soccer coach, not real happy with what was going on, and he showed his dissatisfaction by kicking a crate with his foot and then getting said foot stuck in said crate, and he couldn't get it out. He had to hop and limp over to the bench. It's just so hard to look cool and casual while your foot is stuck in a crate that you kicked because you were unhappy with something that you didn't like. Not his finest moment, but he did make it onto this week's edition of the best and the worst.
Not exactly the greatest hits right there. When we come back, we're going to show you our top 4 high school plays of the week and reveal our BI Blitz player of the week. Stick around for that.
We are 7 weeks into the high school football season, which means we only have 3 weeks until the playoffs.
Playoffs? That also means we have some great plays of the week to show you. Let's get to it. Our top 4 plays. At number 4, it's actually a couple of close calls here. Syracuse quarterback Deshaun Wise to Colin Sierra coming right at you. Great catch. Great shot by our own Leonard Davis. And in Taylorsville, Manning Wolfgram to Dalton Jamison nearly takes out our own Wesley Ruff.
That was me.
Hang in there, Wes.
That was me.
At number 3, Corner Canyon and Little Peak, Chargers quarterback Jackson Dart hooks up with Cody Hagan, 52-yard bomb, and the Chargers win it 35-25.
I was frightened. Number 2, Riverton playing Olympus. Silverwolves with the ball, 4th and 7. They go for it. Jackson Howard gets picked off by Jackson Benet.
What?
That's Jackson on Jackson crime
That's
right there.
not right.
Benet going to disappear down the sideline, goes 75 yards for the touchdown. Riverton gets the win, though, 24-21. And our number 1 play of the week, Bingham and East. Big play on special teams for East. Orion Kafusi with the one-handed block on the punt, and then Kafusi recovers it himself. What a great individual effort. Bingham gets the victory with a last-second 2-point conversion, 29-28. As for our player of the week, we obviously could have gone with Corner Canyon quarterback Jackson Dart. 490 total yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, but we could give it to him almost every week. This week, we're going to go with West High wide receiver Clarence Bird Butler. He had 8 catches, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, as the Panthers improved to 5-2 with a resounding 58-21 win over Taylorsville. West High, they're 5-2 for the first time this century.
Wow.
In large part to the play of Clarence Bird Butler. He is our BI Blitz Player of the Week. All right, we got Real Salt Lake a week from tonight.
BYU on Friday at home against Louisiana Tech. And on Wednesday, the NBA playoffs get underway. The only place you can watch them.
Finals.
What did I say?
Playoffs.
Yeah, the NBA finals get underway. The only place you can watch them live is right here on ABC4.
Lakers in the Heat. We'll see ya.
Bye.